You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love. Something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything.
Hey, good morning, Rooted Men. Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Ministries. It is Wednesday morning, and it's good to have all of you on board. I'm trying to work off my iPad and my computer today, so we'll see how that does. Please let me know whether we're live. Tell me that you can see me and hear me. That would mean I did a few things right this morning, and that would be a great affirmation for the beginning of the day. Let me see if I can say hi to a few people. And let's see. Ken Gooch. Good morning, fellow brothers in arms. Eric. Good morning. Chuck B. Good morning. I'm out there on X. Good morning. Chris Connolly. Good morning. Steve Punaworski. Good morning. Oh boy, everybody's having a lazy day today. We don't have too many jumping on board. Let's see. Chuck says we're good. All right, so we've got sound, audio, and video is good, says Eric. All right, good. All right, there are a few people popping on. Let me see if I can pull up the text here. I got to look over at the computer to pull it up. Here we go. I hope you can see that. It's kind of big in print. Oh, look at that. The Firmly Rooted logo is right over my face. Hold on a second. I just got to straighten that out. There. All right. Where was I? Okay. So here we go. There are, Steve Drew did the devotion yesterday. He did a great job. The idea, and he's right, I think 4 or 5 times in just a few verses, Paul uses the word conscience. And that we should not only be aware of our own conscience, but we should be aware and sensitive to other people's consciences. And although some things might be free to us to do, because ceremonial laws and those kinds of things are gone, they're done, Jesus fulfilled the law in our place. He's not saying that we can wipe out the whole law, but he is saying that where we might have freedom, someone else may not be mature enough to share in that freedom. They might not get it. And hence, we might harm their faiths rather than bless their faiths, which is the only option we have, is to bless, to build up. Our job is never, ever, ever to tear down a believer. Our job is to build them up, strengthen them, disciple them. And so sometimes we who are more mature need to sacrifice our freedom to do something or say something out of respect for one who just doesn't get it yet, one who doesn't know yet. And our main responsibility is to teach and educate, not to just walk around saying, well, I have a right to do it, so who cares? It's just not the right thing. All right. So I'm going to roll in with some of the verses that he had, and then we'll go on. If one of the unbelievers invites you and you want to go and eat everything, and you want to go eat everything that is set before you, I got to do it this way because my screen's too slow, without asking questions for the sake of conscience. So an unbeliever says, hey, come on over, have a drink, have a steak, whatever. Don't ask questions about, hey, was this sacrificed to an idol? Can you tell me, do you believe in witchcraft? I mean, just do it. But if you start to ask the question, but if anyone says to you, this meat is sacrificed to idols, don't eat it. For the sake of the one who's ill-informed, for the sake of that person's conscience. Now, by conscience, I don't mean your own, but the other person's. For why is freedom judged by another's conscience, right? I mean, I have the right to do it. I have the right to do it. Paul is saying, I know you theologically know you have the right to do it, but you might harm the hearts of 4 or 5 people out there, and so don't do it. Verse 30. If I partake with thankfulness, why am I slandered about that for which I give thanks? Asking the rhetorical question, because you may be harming someone else. Therefore, love Paul's therefores. Verse 31. Therefore, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do all things for the glory of God. How about that, guys? How about that as our verse for this morning? Whatever you do, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, everything that you say, do today, do it all for the glory of God. That's a challenge, and what a blessing that would be. What a great day that would be. Don't be offended. Do not offend Jews and Greeks or the church of God. Don't offend the foreigners. Don't use, this is why I want Christians, be careful what you post on Facebook. Be careful what you post on social media. I know we have strong opinions about things, but we don't have a right to harm people with our words. We're Christians. We do everything out of love. So do not offend Jews or Greeks or the church of God, just as I also please everyone in all things, not seeking my own benefit, but the benefit of many, so that they may be saved. And there he now has said that 3 or 4 times. Why does Paul, as he's traveling from foreign city to foreign city to foreign city to foreign city, why does he keep altering maybe his approach to things, or what he might do, or what he might say, or how he might act, or how he might eat? Because his ultimate goal is to save souls. His ultimate goal is to win people to Christ. His ultimate goal is to glorify God with his life. And none of that is going to happen if we're just getting into theological debates with people about things that don't need to be debated, or harming the faith of a young believer, or worse yet, pushing an unbeliever away from the church because they judge us as condemning and ritualistic, or whatever it might be. So going back all the way back, the sole purpose is that we are supposed to be other oriented. Love your neighbor as yourself. And that we are willing to sacrifice our freedoms for the sake of caring and loving for the gentle faith of another Christian. I hope that makes sense. Let me pull myself out of this screen here so I can get back on. There we go. Let's see who else came on board. There were a few people that jumped on. I saw my cousin, John Donnelly, good morning. Bert Reggiani, good morning. Greg Ray, good morning from my lazy boy. Hey, man, look at you. Daytime hours. Good to have you on board, Greg. Hope your, second week of retirement is going well. Maybe it's the third. Love you. All right, everybody. I think that's all that I have. I'll be back at 8:30 for strengthening our roots. Blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.